My daughter was 15 when I asked Gabriel for a divorce. He looked at me with displeasure. Stop making a scene. I don't have time to deal with your emotions. Calmly. I took out the registration list for my daughter's school family day. The names on it were Gabriel, my daughter, and Gabriel's first love. Gabriel snatched the list from my hands. It's just a list. You're making a fuss over even this? But he didn't know that it wasn't just a list. It was the last straw that broke me. Chapter 1. Gabriel. Let's end it here. When I handed over the divorce agreement, Gabriel still thought I was acting on emotion, doing something irrational without thinking it through at all. What are you making a fuss about now? Didn't I already explain everything yesterday? My gaze remained completely still as I placed the divorce papers on his desk. Gabriel frowned. His tone was impatient, though his eyes wavered. I already told you. The assistant just wrote the wrong name. Besides, Julia isn't even here. Are you really going to get jealous over something this ridiculous? I laughed softly. Even your assistant knows what's in your heart. You don't? Yesterday, he had clearly been out welcoming Julia back. And today, he actually had the nerve to tell me she wasn't even in the country. I may be a full-time housewife, but that doesn't mean I've lost my brain. Besides, the photos of the two of them sitting together drinking had already been sent to my phone, and now he was still playing dumb with me. Selena! Gabriel drew in a deep breath. Stop overthinking, okay? I'm tired. Don't make a scene. After a whole night, I had already calmed down. I simply tapped the signature line at the very bottom. Sign it. There's nothing left to say. Gabriel hurried to patch things up for himself. I've already had the list changed. Stop making a fuss, okay? I still have a lot of documents to deal with. Come home and have dinner tonight. Will you make braised fish? I haven't had it in a long time. I ignored him. Sign it. Chapter 2. Gabriel lifted his eyes and looked at me, anger already visible in them. He clearly thought I was being a little unreasonable. In his mind, he had already given me a way out, and yet I still refused to take it and step down. In the past, whenever we argued, as soon as he offered me a way out, I would take it. I never thought too deeply about who was right and who was wrong, but after being given a way out this many times over the years, I would get tired too. Selena, if that list made you uncomfortable, I've already told someone to deal with it. What more do you want? He knew I minded Julia, yet this kind of mistake still happened, and even now, he still had not realized why I was asking for a divorce. Last night, after he came home, I made him hangover soup as usual. Maybe I made too much noise with the dishes, because it annoyed our daughter, who was playing games in her room. Mom, why are you cooking again? It's so annoying. I'm in voice chat with my friends while gaming. You're always coming out in the middle of the night. You can sleep in comfortably the next morning, but I have to get up early, okay? Be quieter. Helen turned and left, still muttering under her breath. A housewife is just idle. My hand paused as I ladled out the hangover soup, and I almost spilled it. In their eyes, I was nothing more than a nanny, a housewife who was supposed to give everything for the family. A servant they could order around as they pleased. In the end, I still failed to make that bowl of hangover soup properly. The flavor is too light. Yes, it's too light. Chapter 3. If daughters are said to be their father's lovers from a past life, then Helen was practically Gabriel's exact copy, equally heartless and thoughtless. At 15, she was right in the middle of her rebellious phase. Usually, even exchanging a few words with me made her think I was nagging. Yet somehow she always had endless things to talk about with Julia. Last night, after making that bowl of hangover soup, I went straight back to my room, leaving Gabriel outside alone. When Helen came out, he took a gift box out of a bag. This is a present from Aunt Julia. Helen's voice instantly shot up. Wow, Aunt Julia is so nice. She just got back to the country and she already brought us gifts. I love this bag so much. I've wanted this compact for ages. As expected of Aunt Julia, she has such good taste. The voices of father and daughter fell into my ears, and no matter how I heard them, they grated. When Helen was 12, I was still the one choosing clothes and buying gifts for her. By the time she turned 14, she began rejecting them. Mom, your taste is so bad. I stopped liking this stuff back in elementary school. Mom, stop buying me these gifts. I can't even use them. It's a waste. I would be standing there with both hands full of presents. And in the end, all I got was one sentence. I don't like it. It's so tacky. That night, I finally realized just how exhausting my life had been all these years. Chapter 4. After signing the papers, Gabriel went off to the company for a meeting. I did not stay idle either. I called in my own lawyer and secured a fair division of property for myself. It took nearly half of his family fortune, but Gabriel did not interfere much. He was very confident in his career and his assets. Once I had packed my things, I called a taxi and prepared to leave. Just then, I ran into Helen coming home from school. She glanced at the suitcase in my hand and the taxi waiting outside, her face calm and unbothered. You two are getting divorced? There was no sadness on her face, only indifference. Helen stood beside Gabriel with her school bag on her back, watching me get into the car with a blank expression. Before the car drove away, I took one look at Helen standing at the doorway, without the slightest trace of sorrow on her face. Aren't people always saying that blood is thicker than water? Well, this inherited family trait of cold-heartedness really was powerful. All these years, Helen had never treated me, her own mother, with the same warmth she showed Julia, an outsider. And yet, in that moment, I felt even more relieved. Chapter 5. I took my suitcase to the property I had bought for myself before. After settling things there, I went back to my mother's house. The moment I walked in, my mother looked past me. Where's Gabriel? Why didn't he come with you? Why did you come back by yourself? I gave a quiet response and walked into the house to pour myself a glass of water. My mother was still craning her neck to look behind me, but she never saw Gabriel. You didn't have a fight with Gabriel, did you? Don't go around with that sour look on your face every day. The fact that Gabriel wants you is your good fortune, and yet you're still dissatisfied and keep running back to your mother's house. What will his family think of you? They've always been a wealthy, powerful family. You're different. You were raised rough from the start. Now that you're married, you need to learn to be tolerant even more. A wife has to learn how to read the room. Don't go running back to your parents' house every time you get upset. What kind of behavior is that? Say something. Don't stay silent all day long. You need to communicate more with Gabriel. And Helen too. You need to raise her properly. Children from wealthy families don't lack money, but you still have to make sure. That's enough. I truly could not endure it anymore. All these years, she had washed my brain like this every single day, always treating me like a servant for that family. Ever since I married Gabriel, my mother had always believed it was a blessing I had earned in a past life. She wanted me to bow low and make myself small, never to go against the wishes of my husband's family. Like a puppet. Seeing me like this only made my mother angrier. You had a fight with Gabriel, didn't you? I told you long ago to fix that awful temper of yours, but you never listened. Well, now look what happened. Sooner or later you're going to be thrown out. Lowering my voice, I picked up my bag and headed for the door. I'm divorced for the rest of my life. I will never have anything to do with them again. You've been showing off outside for years, borrowing Gabriel's family name to boast that you're connected to a wealthy family. From today on, you'd better keep your head down. Your daughter and Gabriel will have nothing to do with you anymore. I opened the door and walked out, letting her curse behind me. What did you say? Selena, how did I end up raising such an ungrateful wretch? Chapter 6. 16 years ago, I married Gabriel, and from then on, I never truly stood straight again. Before Helen was born, Gabriel and I lived together in the old family mansion. I had to keep every tiny household detail in mind. For example, what my mother-in-law could eat, what she was allergic to, and what medicine she needed to take. I had to remember every single thing and remind her of it all. Before Gabriel left for work, I had to straighten his tie and watch him leave the house. After they all left home, I had to study cooking and learn how to make pastries. I had to learn how to be a full-time wife in a wealthy family. After living that kind of life for a year, I got pregnant. My pregnancy symptoms were severe, so Gabriel took me out of the old mansion. He was worried my mother-in-law would be affected by my condition. Gabriel didn't know how to take care of me, so he hired a nanny to do it. After Helen was born, my life was completely arranged for me. Every morning, I had to prepare Gabriel's tie and suit, and also get breakfast ready for both father and daughter. After they left, I still had a whole series of full-time wife lessons waiting for me. Everything was teaching me how to bow low and make myself small, how to serve that family. Not everyone can marry into wealth, and not everyone can live a whole life there as an equal, cherished and adored. At the time, I simply accepted all of that as part of my life. As Helen grew up, she became more and more like her father, cold, detached, dismissive. Helen was very good at throwing tantrums. When she was little, Gabriel and I indulged her and treated it as childishness. But later, she gradually started talking back to me. Mom, what is this thing you bought? It's so ugly. It doesn't suit me at all. Mom, don't make this tiramisu anymore. It's not good at all. Mom, can you stop hovering around all the time? Don't you have anything of your own to do? Something of my own to do? Everything I ever did was dismissed by you all as worthless. Chapter 7. After leaving home, I received a phone call. Hello, is this Helen's mother? Yes. This is Helen's homeroom teacher. Helen had a bit of a conflict with one of her classmates at school today, and we may need you to come to the school to help resolve the issue. A conflict? Helen had inherited her father's temperament exactly. She had never been the type to swallow an insult, and she was certainly not someone easy to provoke. Whose fault was it? Well, why don't you come over first? The other students' parents also hope this can be handled face-to-face. I did not answer that. I simply stated a fact. Teacher, please call her father. We're divorced now. So from now on, matters concerning Helen should be discussed with him. The teacher froze for a moment. But I'm sorry. Teacher, after hanging up, I felt a dull heaviness in my chest. When Helen was being led astray, I had warned her again and again, but it still did no good. When Helen was in 6th grade, she got close to a group of rich second-generation kids and worked her way into their circle. At the time, I had sensed something was wrong and immediately discussed it with Gabriel, wondering whether we should transfer her to another school. Do you know what Gabriel said? There's no need to make such a big fuss. Helen knows her limits when it comes to making friends. If you interfere like this, she'll only resent it. So I let it go. But I never expected that once it started, things would spiral out of control. Helen became closer and closer with them. She started going to bars and clubs, drinking, and attending parties. I tried talking to her several times, but her careless attitude always shocked me. Mom, stop interfering. I know my limits. I won't do anything reckless. The very next day, I had to go to the police station to bail Helen out because she had been caught street racing. Gabriel finally realized that things were going badly too. How exactly did you raise this child? How did you manage to turn a perfectly good kid into this? If I'd known it would turn out like this, I should have let Mom raise her. During that time, I was trapped in endless self-blame. After Helen got out, she did not rein herself in at all. On the contrary, she only got worse, buying bags, buying jewelry, competing over whose was more expensive and whose was better. Helen could not get spending money from me, but from her father. All she had to do was hold out her hand. I tried to discipline her several times, but Helen simply would not listen. Mom, stop bothering me. Look how generous Dad is. Unlike you, who won't even give me a cent. Chapter 8. When I returned to my own apartment, I received an offer from a major company. Before I got married, I had never thought of myself as marrying up. I had graduated with a master's degree from Jing University, and the moment I graduated, I received quite a few offers. I had stood on a national-level award stage. I had once had a light of my own, and it was after that award ceremony ended that I met Gabriel. From there, my life as a full-time wife began. I had bought this property 1 year after graduation. I originally meant to keep it as my own dowry, but then I ended up marrying into a wealthy Beijing family, and this apartment remained empty all this time. Now, however, it had finally become a harbor where I could shelter from the storm. Chapter 9. The company organized a team-building trip, a 1-week vacation in Paris. I went along with them. The moment I boarded the plane, it felt as though the whole world had become much quieter. As I looked at the clouds, I thought of the honeymoon trip I had never gotten to have. Back when we had just married, I hinted more than once about going on a honeymoon, but Gabriel always put me off by saying he was too busy with work. I understood that he was busy, and little by little, I let the idea fade away. The truth was, it wasn't that he was unwilling to go on a honeymoon with me, he just wasn't willing to put that kind of thought into it. Even when he proposed back then, he had been just as casual. We had just woken up in bed when he slipped the diamond ring onto my finger like that. You're being way too perfunctory, Gabriel. Gabriel pulled me into his arms and laughed in a low, husky voice. I'll give you a grand ceremony. A sense of ceremony, he did. In fact, give me that. Not long after, on a cruise ship, he gave me a proposal that was grand and elaborate. This is what I prepared for you, Selena. Give me the chance to protect you for the rest of your life, okay? I was so moved that I cried, touched that he was willing to put in the effort for me. But it wasn't until some time after we were married, when I happened to see a text message on his phone, that I found out the truth. He had hired an event planning company to handle everything from start to finish. He had only provided the money. Everything else had been left to the planners. At the time, I did not react much. I only thought that, since he was willing to spend money on me, that was good enough. Chapter 10. Compared to my marriage to Gabriel. Most people probably would rather have seen Julia become Gabriel's wife. They even compared me to her. Not only Gabriel, even Helen kept in contact with Julia. She warmly called her Aunt Julia, and sometimes even called her Mama Julia. She acted spoiled with her, asked her for gifts, and discussed the latest fashion trends with her. How warm and affectionate. So warm and affectionate that it was as if they were the real family. Then what was I? In the past, I had turned a blind eye, thinking that it was better to avoid trouble than to stir things up. But I never expected that what I would get in return was only that they would push it further and further. Chapter 11. I was very happy every single day I spent in Paris. I met quite a few new friends, and I also found a new social circle. The scenery in Paris was beautiful, just like my new life. But there were always people who ruined the mood by suddenly appearing in front of me. When are you coming back to the country? I was wearing sunglasses and had intended to ignore him and walk away. But Gabriel still stepped in front of me and blocked my path. Can we talk? I shook off his arm. What is there to talk about? Haven't I already said that we're over and there's no possibility left? You keep disturbing my life again and again. It makes me uncomfortable. You're bothering me. Gabriel did not get angry. He only spoke in a soft and gentle tone. I was impulsive on the day of the divorce. Let's sit down and talk this through properly. And Helen. I kept walking without stopping. I told her more than once to tone it down, not to be so showy, not to mix with that kind of crowd. But neither of you ever listened. I got onto the company shuttle bus, leaving him outside, his eyes fixed intently on me. One of my coworkers asked me, "Who was that? Why was he staring at you like that?" "Just a friend from back home. We're not that close. We just happened to run into each other." Chapter 12. I underestimated Gabriel's refusal to give up until he got what he wanted. Even during the busiest time for the group, Gabriel was still obsessively tracking my whereabouts. He found out which hotel I was staying at and came looking for me. Open the door. Selena, there's really nothing between Julia and me. Open up. Let's talk this through properly. I was sick to death of it. A perfectly good trip and vacation had been ruined by his interference. I know you're inside. Open the door. Selena, I really want to talk to you. I called the hotel front desk. I told them that if this man continued harassing me, I would file a complaint and call the police. Very soon, hotel security came upstairs and escorted Gabriel away. The noise outside the door disappeared, and my world returned to peace once again. My mother also sent me a message. I heard Gabriel flew abroad to find you. Don't be so ungrateful. He's come all this way for you. That's already giving you face. What are you putting on airs for? Hurry up and come back with Gabriel. Otherwise I don't have a daughter like you. I glanced at the message, my emotions utterly still. My mother had always been like this, worshipping wealth and status. When I got into Jing University, the first thing she said was, "My daughter can marry into a good family now. In the future, even I'll have face when I go out shopping for groceries." She had spent her whole life living for her own pride. Chapter 13. After returning to the country, I went back to work. Little by little, I regained that sense of ease and confidence I used to have back when I was in school. After marrying Gabriel, I brought up more than once that I wanted to keep working. We already had household staff, and that should have been enough. But Gabriel always believed that these things were supposed to be handled by me personally. You should just stay at home. I'm the one out there working. You'll never go hungry with me around. Take care of the home properly first. Then think about work. But no matter how well I managed the home, no one ever cared whether I could go back to work. They only cared whether I had cleaned the house properly, whether everything was arranged neatly, whether I had fulfilled the duties of a daughter-in-law and a wife. Selena, what are you thinking about? I snapped back to my senses when Xiaomei, a close colleague beside me, called my name. You got promoted. Starting tomorrow, you'll even have your own office. Aren't you happy? I nodded, my smile sincere, but the truth was, I had already had the ability for this right after graduation. After joining this company, I had always done my job diligently and responsibly. I had signed plenty of major deals and become one of the company's top employees. 1 month after joining, I was already promoted to general manager, so a few coworkers I was close to said they wanted to celebrate for me. We found a restaurant and had a lively dinner together, drinking until we could barely walk straight before finally leaving. I watched each of them head off one by one before calling a car for myself. Selena, I heard you got promoted. Congratulations. The man standing in front of me was indeed Gabriel, but the way he was acting made him feel nothing like himself. He was holding a bouquet of flowers and carrying an expensive gift. He stood there in front of me in a perfectly tailored suit. Flowers really were such a rare thing from him. Thank you, but I won't take the flowers. We're not on those terms anymore. Gabriel stopped me. I lifted my eyes to look at him and noticed the dark circles under his eyes. It seemed he had not been sleeping well lately. Selena, I've thought about a lot of things. I truly can't adapt to life without you. Ever since you left, my whole life has fallen into chaos. Even Helen isn't acting like herself anymore. Selena, I know I was wrong before, but give me one chance. Can't we go back to how things were? There was always a nameless anger surging wildly in my chest. The only reason you can't adapt is because the housekeeper still isn't familiar enough with her work, and Helen turning out like this has everything to do with how much you spoiled her. You say you know you were wrong. Then tell me, exactly what were you wrong about? Gabriel fell silent. You don't actually know where you were wrong, and you don't know the real reason I wanted a divorce either. Gabriel, you've always liked playing word games with me. Maybe you still think I was making a fuss over that list. Or maybe after living with Julia for a few days, you realized she wasn't actually the one best suited to you? Gabriel, I'm living just fine now. Don't even think about intruding on the good life I have now. You belong in the capital, not here wasting your time. I turned and left, getting straight into the car I had called. I had said everything I needed to say. If he still insisted on clinging to me, I didn't mind becoming even harsher. My company and Gabriel's group belonged to the same type of venture capital industry, and by a twist of fate, we ended up competing with each other. When my boss handed me the contract proposal, I froze for a second. This time, we're competing with Gabriel's company for the deal. Can you handle it? I glanced over the contents of the cooperation agreement, and right away a full strategy formed in my mind for dealing with every complicated clause. I smiled lightly. Yes, I can. My boss was very satisfied with my attitude. Good, then I'm putting this deal in your hands. I didn't disappoint him. I personally flew to the capital. Sitting at the same table as Gabriel for a business dinner was truly a feeling I had never experienced before. Every so often, his gaze lingered on me like a harassing man's. I did not spare him a single glance. Instead, I talked smoothly and confidently with the client, laying out my strengths one by one. It was a very pleasant dinner. And when we were leaving, the client even patted me on the shoulder. Your future is limitless. Young lady. Gabriel was standing at the door waiting for me, and beside him was someone I had no desire to see, Julia. Selena. I acted as if I hadn't heard him and walked straight toward the car. As long as you remarry me, the contract is yours. My steps paused. Gabriel, when did you start playing this dirty? His expression stiffened for a moment. I just want you back. Julia tugged lightly at his suit. Gabriel, don't degrade yourself like this. Your mother told me to bring you home. Come on. Get in the car. Gabriel pulled his arm free and only kept staring at me. I rolled my eyes. Do you really think you can still win this contract? I pointed at my folder. The contract's already signed. Threatening me now is useless. Gabriel looked stunned. What did you say? I answered calmly. The contract was signed yesterday. Today's dinner was on me, and you were only there as a side addition for the client. As for remarrying you, don't even think about it. But Julia seems very eager to marry you, so maybe you should consider her. I turned away with easy confidence and got into the nanny van I had called. Chapter 14. After sending me that short video last time, Julia sent me another one the very next day, this time showing her hooked onto Gabriel's arm. The meaning behind it was obvious. She was flaunting it in my face. But I had no intention of letting her off either, since she kept provoking me again and disrupting my life. I wasn't going to let her have it easy either. Julia was a designer with a fair amount of buzz online. She often styled outfits for celebrities and idols. And with that striking face of hers, she had gathered quite a following. I contacted a popular blogger and had the story exposed, laying out the entire process of how she knowingly became the other woman. Every piece of hard evidence came from the videos she had personally sent me. Hashtag famous designer Julia knowingly became the other woman hashtag. When the news broke, it caused quite a stir online. Oh my god, did she really destroy herself with her own hands? I bet the real wife personally stepped in to tear her apart. The rich people's circle really is messy. Just look at the decadent setting in those videos. I used to have a pretty good impression of her, but now I can't stand her at all. Homewreckers should rot. Julia was cursed so viciously that it was brutal to watch. Countless netizens swarmed to her Weibo to insult her. All of Julia's work was suspended, and even her company publicly stated that they would never tolerate such behavior. Overnight, Julia lost both her career and her fanbase. In a rage, she called me, but I blocked her and warned her. She had no choice but to switch to text messages and threaten me. You deserve to die. You really deserve to die. Selena, one day, karma will come for you. If you do this to me, Gabriel will never let you off. I typed back. He can barely save himself now. Why would he care about you? Chapter 15. A month later, Gabriel entered my field of vision again. Shocking! Group CEO Gabriel hospitalized for overwork. I glanced at the news alert that popped up on my phone and silently swiped it away. Of course he had to be busy, otherwise all my careful effort would have been wasted. My eyes remained calm as I continued working at my computer. I stayed busy right up until noon, when I received a call from my mother. The moment she got through, she launched into a furious tirade. Selena, all these years, did I really raise nothing but an ungrateful wretch like you? Do you know Gabriel's in the hospital with stomach problems? Have you even gone to see him? Even if you're divorced, there's no need to make things so ugly. Back then, Gabriel treated you so well. How can you not feel even a shred of gratitude? And divorce is such a major matter. Yet you didn't even discuss it with me. Selena, you've really become something, haven't you? If you ask me, no family could possibly compare to Gabriel's. It's one thing that you're never satisfied, but to be this ungrateful, without a single thought for how good they were to you. If that counted as treating me well, then any random man on the street would know better how to cherish a wife. Mom, if you still want to keep spending my money traveling around the world with all those uncles and aunties, then stay out of my affairs and mind your own business. And one more thing, divorce isn't exactly something glorious. Stop going around telling everyone that Gabriel and I once had a history. Otherwise, you won't get another cent from me. My mother's momentum instantly deflated. Fine. I'm the only one in this world who could tolerate your rotten temper anyway. Just wait until you grow old and lonely. Honestly, next month I want to go spend a few days in Zishuangbana. Remember to book me a tour group. I want one with more single uncles in it. Me? I glanced at the balance in my bank account, and only then did I calm down a little. Luckily, my current assets were almost enough to buy several office buildings outright. I couldn't help sighing. It really is good to have money. Chapter 16. After Gabriel was discharged from the hospital, he threw himself back into work, as if he were trying to numb himself through it. None of that concerned me. The only news I ever saw about him came from my phone's automatic push notifications, and I cleared those with a single tap every time. I didn't care how Gabriel was doing. The only thing I cared about was what my own future would look like. And as for Gabriel's family, sooner or later, they would fall apart. When the company boss called me into his office, his eyes were full of approval. He did not hold back his praise at all and showered me with compliments. In just 1 month, you made it all the way to general manager. I haven't seen such a good prospect in a very long time. Why didn't you come to our company earlier? If you had, you might already be a vice president by now. I smiled modestly. You flatter me, boss. I only did the best I could. The boss stood up and patted me on the shoulder. There's an opportunity for promotion and a pay raise. Want to give it a try? My eyes lit up, though I kept my face composed. There's an opportunity to work at the headquarters in Magic City. You'd go for 3 years. If you do well during those 3 years, you'll become an executive at headquarters. If you don't, then you'll have to come back here, with a demotion and a pay cut. Do you want to try? Chapter 17. After I came out of the president's office, I received a call from Helen, while I was still inside. I had already seen her call, but I did not answer. Helen stubbornly called a 3rd time. Mom, you finally answered. Mom, I miss you very much. Dad does too. Can you come back? I knew that at this very moment. Gabriel must be right beside our daughter. Didn't your father tell you that we're done? We agreed that from now on, we would have no more contact. The moment Helen heard how cold my tone was, she immediately changed from the pitiful voice she had started with. She turned around and tattled at once. Dad, I told you she wouldn't soften. I told you she's a heartless woman. But you wouldn't believe me. Gabriel snatched the phone away and stopped Helen. Selena, I'm sorry. I've just been too busy lately, so I didn't come to see you. Can you give me one more chance? I know you really want to work and prove yourself. I agree now. I'll let you work. Come to our company. I'll give you the position of vice president. Come back. Selena, this home can't be without you. I can't get used to life without you. I laughed. Are you looking for a wife? Or a slave? I hung up without listening any further to their one-man show. Belated affection is cheaper than grass. What use is regret now? I had also heard about what happened with Helen. It seemed that because of fighting and causing trouble, the matter had gone to court, and the other child's parents had sued her, which led to the school having no choice but to suspend her for a week. Something like this happening to her was not surprising. The root of her vicious nature had always been there. I only felt that the law was still being too lenient with minors. Bullying the weak and getting into fights, each of those things is enough to plunge a family into misery. If possible, I hope Helen can be sent to juvenile detention to cool off for a while and have the thorns on her body ground down. Chapter 18. 3 days later, I went to work in Shanghai, putting even more distance between myself and Gabriel. During the time I worked in Shanghai, my life was especially peaceful. A large part of that came from not being disturbed by anyone else. It felt as if I had returned to my student days again, carefree and full of drive. I met Leo at a business gathering. He was a very humorous and charming man. He always told me it was love at first sight. But even more than that, he said he was captivated by the charm I carried. The way he spoke was interesting, direct, and sincere. I could guess what he was thinking just by looking into his eyes. That was something I had never once felt from Gabriel. He came to Shanghai from his hometown and built everything on his own, from having nothing to reaching his current position. It all came from his talent and his own excellence. But that did not stop the way he pursued someone from being incredibly straightforward. The flowers he sent me were always the reddest roses. The cosmetics he gave me were always the most expensive and the best. Candles and scented oils had to be arranged in the most romantic way possible. A candlelit dinner was absolutely essential. Watching fireworks and watching the sunrise were also things that simply had to happen. These were all very ordinary things. But when he did them, they always managed to move me a little, even if his style was very blunt and carried all the taste of a straight man. What do you want to eat today? Hot pot, barbecue, or Cantonese food? Hot pot. In winter, hot pot is exactly what you should eat. He drove his G-Class, thought about it seriously for a moment, then said, I know a hot pot place in the north of the city that's really good. Authentic Chongqing flavor. Want to go try it? Sure. Just while we were chatting like that, 2 news alerts popped up on my phone. One was about a major conglomerate I had not heard about in a long time. Supposedly, because of cash flow problems, its stock had plunged, and the company was clearly entering decline. The other was about my own daughter, Helen. Apparently, because of a school bullying incident, the victim's family had taken the matter to the media, stirring up public outrage. The family could no longer protect her, so they had no choice but to follow the law and send Helen to juvenile detention. Neither of those two stories had happened without my hand in them. Chapter 19. Gabriel's company ran into cash flow problems. But that was not the real reason the group began to decline. The true issue was with the company's president and chairman. They were sent to prison for embezzlement and illegal fundraising. Now the group is under pressure from both inside and out, and there is not even a real decision-maker left in charge. I was the one who personally submitted the report. Consider it my revenge for all those years of serving them like a maid. What happened to Helen was also entirely my doing. I did not want to watch my own daughter turn into a menace to society and keep harming other students. I contacted the media and kept pushing the story, making it grow bigger and bigger. I wanted all the netizens to condemn Helen's school bullying case. I wanted Helen to realize that the harm caused by school bullying is no less severe than online harassment. She kept going further and further down the wrong path. So, as her mother, I could only choose an extreme method. While Gabriel was too overwhelmed to deal with anything, I used media exposure and the power of the internet to send Helen to juvenile detention for discipline. By the time Gabriel finishes his sentence and comes out, he will find that everything is gone. He will be removed from the group. His daughter will be in juvenile detention, and even his one true love will be driven out of the industry by public outrage, forced to leave the mainland in disgrace and try to build a life abroad. I want nothing else. I only want him to pay for everything he has done. Before Gabriel went to prison, he kept asking to see me, begging me to give him one chance to turn over a new leaf, and I did not even spare him a glance. He stood outside my door all night. I still did not soften. Everything Gabriel is doing now is pointless in my eyes. I was spacing out, lost in my memories, and Leo noticed. What's wrong? Don't feel like having hot pot anymore? It's okay. We can turn around now and eat something else instead. I patted his hand. It's fine. Let's go. I just got distracted by a news story for a moment. What kind of news had you looking so serious? School bullying. He made a fist and swung it twice. What I hate most in this world is school bullying. I don't know what those people are so arrogant about. Always running around with a bunch of thugs bullying the weak. If that had happened back when I was there, I'd have knocked them down one by one. That scar on your hand came from that, didn't it? He grinned. This is a man's badge of honor. Don't you think it looks cool? It's like a medal. He made me laugh, and I quietly slipped my phone back into my bag. A new life means a new beginning. Why should I keep tormenting myself over the past? People always have to move forward. I've thought about the question you asked me yesterday. Leo immediately tensed up. Wait, don't say it yet. I accept. What? Leo. I said I accept. He slammed on the brakes at the traffic light, just as it turned red. I've finally been waiting for this. He wrapped an arm around my neck and pecked my lips. He was as careful as if he were handling a treasure. It was something I had never felt with the man from my past. I'm completely crazy about you.